This is the Thrive Podcast with Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. And now, Pastor Fred Jeff Smith.
And welcome to edition number 23, I believe it is, of the Thrive Podcast of the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. I'm Fred Jeff Smith, pastor of Shiloh. And whether you are listening via iTunes or viewing via YouTube, we thank you for taking the time to share in our Thrive Podcast today. I am very honored today and delighted to have three youth of the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church as my guests today. Terriana Thompson, Mystique Price, and Dale Walker. I am extremely grateful to all three of you for taking the time to come. This was not my idea. It should have been my idea. I should have been smart enough to figure this out, but it wasn't. I wasn't. This was Minister Troy Kennedy's idea. Minister Kennedy is the minister to children and youth here at Shiloh, and he suggested it would be a good thing to have some of the youth of Shiloh on the podcast, and he recommended the three of you to come and talk with me today. So thank you all for taking the time to do that, and each one of you just take a moment and tell the audience who you are.
I'm Mystique. I'm 16 years old. I go to Lehigh. I've been a member here since I was little, very little, 5 years old.
Okay.
I'm Dale Walker, age 15. I go to Mentorship Academy, and I've been going here since daycare.
Okay, since daycare. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Hey,
yes, ma'am.
I'm Terriana Thompson. I'm 17 years old. I attend Glen Oaks High School. I am a very active member of Shiloh Baptist Church. I have been since I was about 5 years old.
So we have three people who have been here for most of their lives.
Yes, sir.
So, talk to me, and this is not meant to be a self-promotion. I want your honest assessment. How does Shiloh do when it comes to reaching young people? Are we doing a good job, a decent job? Are we doing a fair job, a poor job? If I were to ask you to put it on a scale of A to F, is Shiloh passing? Are they just passing, or are they failing when it comes to reaching young people?
Well, I feel as though you're doing a fair job.
Okay.
Like you said, it should have been your decision to put us on a podcast. But it took Mr. Troy to come and do it. Y'all give us the opportunities like the youth activities every now and then, but a lot of them have been rejected. And it's not as many youth as it used to be, like way back when. So I feel as though y'all are doing a fair job.
Okay. Dale?
First of all, I'm thankful to be here talking to you. Y'all doing a good job because since daycare, y'all been, it's like a family, a church family, a big church family. Shiloh is going to put Baton Rouge on the map.
That's very kind.
Yeah.
Mystique?
I feel like we're doing a pretty good job. I just feel like we need to evolve more as a church for the youth, because like Terriana was saying, a lot of our youth have journeyed on different places from the church. I do feel like we're doing a good job, but I feel like more programs or something that'll keep the youth here, because the world is evolving, but our church is still traditional.
Okay. I do think that Shiloh is a traditional church. I think that a church of our age will be 146 come August. I think that it's normal for a church that has been around for that long to find itself steeped in and sometimes mired by traditions. And breaking out of those traditions sometimes is a difficult thing to do. One of the mistakes that we make is we talk about children but don't talk to children. We talk about youth. I know you don't want to be called children. We talk about youth, but we don't talk to youth. And so that's why I'm intrigued by having this opportunity to talk to you rather than to talk to someone else about you. We just completed a recording of a podcast with a gentleman who serves as a mentor to young people, not just here in Baton Rouge, but across the state of Louisiana. And one of the things that I asked him was, how can the church reach out more to young people? And so rather than ask someone else about young people, let me ask the young people, what is it that we can do that you think would better serve you as young people who clearly want to be at church? Nobody's making you come to church. You come because you want to be here. So what is it that we can do to help foster your spiritual growth here at Shiloh?
Well, I'm gonna start off by saying this. The church is a very safe, this church I know is a very safe place. It's very comfortable. You always feel family oriented. This is a family oriented church. You never pass by somebody that's not in a family or whose family attends here. I feel like we need like more programs that attract teens, such as like, I know we used to have a basketball team a long time ago. Basketball and Vacation Bible School, that attracts a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of outsiders, especially kids and teens. We should try doing more things like that, and we can benefit from it too, because we could do like fundraisers. Like for instance, for the basketball team, we could do like the summer camp, you know, the training for the players, whatever. That brings in money for that as well. That also helps with the community perspective, like keeping the kids off the street. If they have something that keep their mind going, then it'll kind of help take the kids off the street and help them stay out of trouble as well.
Okay. Dale?
I feel that a long time ago we used to have like a field day, like a lot of stuff like barbecues, water slides and stuff. We used to have a fun time.
Right.
Like I feel like if we have those, like I'd say like every now and then, it'll bring the community back together, because Baton Rouge, it just been killing. Like if we have more stuff involving like the youth, children, adults, it'll be better, because like it's bringing us closer. So we just don't pass by, look at you like, yeah.
Cheriana?
As Mystique was saying about the programs, I agree with that. And like the building, the old daycare, I think that it could be fixed up, bought something to be like a safe haven for the youth, where we can interact with each other, except like for on Wednesdays. That's the only time we really get to see each other and talk. I think we need more time to spend with each other, get to know each other, get closer.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the old building, because one of the goals that we have is to put that building back into usable shape, and my personal goal was to make it a youth center, so that young people would have a place where they could gather and just recreate and enjoy one another. When it comes down to cost, those things, that's a horse of a different color. But it is something that we are looking into and investigating. You all have friends, associates, classmates who attend other churches, and I'm sure you have some friends, associates who attend no church. Do you, let me start, instead of asking the question that I want to ask, let me ask the question that needs to be asked first. When you get together with your friends, does church come up at all?
Yes.
Okay, and when it comes up, this leads to the question that I want to ask. When it comes up, what do you say about Shiloh to help draw others, or to suggest to your friends, particularly those, we're not trying to draw anybody away from their church, but those who don't attend any church, what is it that you say that you think would be helpful to them making a decision to come and attend Shiloh?
To be honest, I think that my friends think that this church is like the best church, because I always talk about it, brag about my church, Shiloh this, Shiloh that. And then I invite them to the activities, Sunday school, Bible study, and I think they really like my church.
Do they ever take you up on it?
Yeah.
Well, good. Dale?
I'll give them advice. I'm like, you should come to my church because there's more stuff you can do. Like you can interact with other people. Like Wednesdays, Bible study, the good service on Sunday. It's just they'll feel safer instead of being out in the streets. They'll feel safe in the church.
Okay. Ms. T?
Well, from my personal life, I have this friend. She's actually a member now. I've been knowing her since middle school. She didn't go to church.
Okay.
And she's a young lady with a baby.
Okay.
I know from my perspective, we started out coming Vacation Bible School. I started bringing up Vacation Bible School. You know, all the kids come. That's my favorite time of the year, Vacation Bible School. You get to see the different interactions throughout the church. We had the music and the art class, and you had the personal talks with the teachers.
Right.
And it just gives us something to look forward to. I personally like the music the best. We have the best choir in Baton Rouge. So my theory with my church, I try to make them feel comfortable, because this is a comfortable place. You always find somebody that you can talk to, somebody you can laugh with, and it's always communication going around. Always, it's everybody treated like family here. You don't have no worries.
That's good. That's good. Do you have friends who don't attend any church? And I don't want names. I'm just curious. If you had to put it by percentage, how many of your friends attend church versus how many of your friends don't attend church?
100% for me.
100% of your friends attend.
church.
Okay.
Whew, about a good 5% don't attend church.
Okay, you have 5% that do. So 95% do attend. Okay.
100%.
100%. Okay. Well, that's a good number, and it's refreshing to me, because one of the things that I have learned as I read and study is that while African Americans attend church at a higher level than other ethnic groups nationally, and particularly in the South, that number is waning. That fewer and fewer of people your age are attending church. So when you tell me that 100%, 95% of your friends attend church, that's reassuring to me that we're doing something right in order to retain church membership. Because at your ages, it's less your parents saying you must go, and more you making the decision yourselves that you want to go. You've mentioned Vacation Bible School several times. It's interesting because as we're recording this, Vacation Bible School is 1 week away. It starts next
another year.
What is it that we could do on a year-round basis? One of the things that makes Vacation Bible School possible is that you're not in school, and you're not encumbered by academic pursuits or other school pursuits. What is it that we can do to generate that same kind of enthusiasm on a year-round basis as opposed to just once a year in the summer?
I've always thought about having teen church or a church service where like the kids can get up there and kind of talk, right? Like our perspective on the Bible, because we know y'all traditional perspective.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, the kids need to have some sort of a voice, because most older adults, they're like, we're kids, we don't know, or they, and in my generation, I know the generation that we growing up in, they got 10-year-olds that know more than I know. They'll open their mouth, you'll be like, what? So, like, I think a voice comes to play with that, letting us have like opportunity to speak on the topics more.
Okay.
Like us being youth, we have testimonies too. Like we've been through like our family members passing away. Like nowadays days, it's our family members passing by murder, getting killed. So we have so much of pressure built inside, we don't know how to express ourselves. So we'll feel better if we express ourselves with the church family, because we know we'll get good advice from fellow members.
Okay.
I think there should be a bigger play on the ministries, because the ministry, I mean, choir, dance, youth, like they're getting smaller and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think we should have some type of outreach program that'll increase those numbers, make it more fun.
There needs to be I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm trying to make sure that I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a heavier emphasis on evangelism and outreach geared more toward youth. What role do you think you all can play? I've got a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old in here. What role do you think you can play? I'm 56 years old, okay? My youngest son is 6 years older than you all are, okay? So I understand that it's quite possible that young people your age really aren't going to listen. You're going to be polite. Yes, sir. No, sir. How you doing? I'm fine, sir. How are you, sir? But you're not really going to talk to me the way that you would talk to someone your own age. In other settings, they call them peer counselors. Do you think that Shiloh could benefit from having peer counselors?
Of course. Yes. We need to feel comfortable. Right now, I feel intimidated.
So if you were a peer counselor, what is it that you think that you could share with people your own age that would be beneficial to them?
Your everyday experiences dealing with school, church, peer pressure, drugs. Yeah.
Life lessons.
Experience.
Start off with the small things like setting goals, how to accomplish those goals, how to get to where you need to be, learn how to express yourself. Because a lot of kids our age, they go through things, but they kind of hold it in. So learning how to express yourself, whether you can do that by talking, you can do that by playing a sport. I do it by listening to music. I love music personally. Other ways, they got other ways too.
I feel like we should, instead of us talking to kids our age, because kids our age, they don't care. Like, they wouldn't just sit there and listen to you. Well, they would listen to you, but they gonna forget everything you said. Like, we should talk to children that's younger than us. Like, tell them how the life is going, like how the world gonna be when you get our age and stuff. Like, yeah.
Okay, Shiloh does have a children's church that operates for children aged 2 to 12. Do you think that you all would be able to make a difference, make an impact, if you all were able to share on occasion stories with those children, because they're younger than you? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
You see, yes, sir. You heard that. Very, very polite. You think that would be beneficial to them?
Yeah,
I think the kids that's 10, maybe that start in middle school, to be beneficial to them, but the kids that are like younger than 10, they kind of don't understand yet. They don't have that mindset yet. Okay. Maybe the middle school kids you can kind of talk to, and they'll kind of get the process, but then at the same time, they still kids. They just gonna want to run around. They're not worried about that. Mommy, daddy got it.
Well, one of the things that I was taught when I was in seminary, one of the reasons why I preach very short, because compared to most preachers, I preach very short. I know you're happy about that. You get out fast.
It ain't
but one of the things that I was taught is that the attention span of the average adult is only between 11 and 13 minutes. So if I preach a 20-minute sermon, which is about the length of what I preach, I already know that 7 to 9 minutes of what I've said has just flown right by you. You're thinking about something else, you're doing something else. So when you say attention span for younger kids, if the average adult has an attention span of 11 to 13 minutes, what do you think the attention span is of a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old? It's probably only 3 to 4
minutes.
2 to 4 minutes. So you would have to find a way to compact your message into that 2 to 4 minutes in order to give it to them in a slice and a size that they can appreciate and do something with. That takes work on your part, because believe me, condensing what you want to say down to 2 to 4 minutes and making sure that you get in everything that you want to say within the 2 to 4 minute span of time, try it sometime. People have no idea. Now I'm stepping on my soapbox, okay? People have no idea how much time it takes to prepare a 20-minute sermon. I spend 6 to 8 hours in writing time. That's prior to reading and doing the research. I spend 6 to 8 hours writing what turns into a 20-minute sermon. Wow. So that's a whole lot of time investment in order to present in 20 minutes in a way that I think is both intelligent and attractive, and people can walk away saying I learned something, or at least I got 3 points from that. So imagine talking to 8-year-olds and you have 2 minutes to get and keep their attention. That takes a lot of work. Do you think that you're willing to put in that kind of work? And not just you, but we have other youth your age. Do you think that you all are willing to put in that kind of work in order to do that?
I think that if we step up and work together, it would be easier. Because 3 people by itself is not going to help maintain the minds of the kids. It's going to take more. And it's going to take more responsibility on us, because focusing on them and then having our personal life on the outside of church, that's going to take a lot of a strong mind too, for to be able to work with kids that small.
Well, then the next question becomes, because what I'm hearing you saying is it's difficult but not impossible. It can be done. So then the next step, the next question is, are you willing to do it? Is that something that you would want to devote your time and attention to?
Yes, sir. Yes. Like having a mentor like Mr. Troy Kennedy.
Right.
He's mentoring us. I want to be like him. Like I feel like I'm a younger version of him.
That's good.
We've been knowing him since 5 years old. He
watched us grow.
Yeah, now he's our teacher now that we're teenagers.
Right.
So
and he can relate more to us now than we were little.
That's good. That's good.
And we are kind of helping with the little kids at the moment, because on Sundays we go to the back and kind of watch over them and help with the little small activities that they do.
Okay. And
they are focused most of the time. It's just the little outside things that make them, ooh, there's a ball going by, and I'm gonna look at it. That's what kind of catches their mind. But I know I done brought up music a lot, but when Miss Maria comes to the back and they singing songs, that keeps their mind going. Because she on them, you got to remember your lines, and she kind of breaks it down and tells them the meaning behind the lyrics of the song. And they also appreciate that. They appreciate that. And Mr. Sam,
let me ask you this: do young people want to be talked to like their children, or do they want to be talked to like they're adults? Because I've noticed that when we talk to young people, we tend to dumb down our talk. Hey, little baby, how are you? What kind of day did you have? Do you want that, or do you want people to talk to you like you're young adults?
Young adults.
Like young adults.
She said with frustration in her voice. But so, how can you help us to understand what it is that we're doing? Well, I asked you to give me a letter grade earlier, and you did. You went fair to good, and that's fine. Help us to understand, how can we communicate better to you so that you can communicate better to others?
I think you should use the ways we interact with each other, social media sites, because I see that you have the Facebook and all that, but you should have like Instagram.
I have Instagram. So keep on naming. I have Facebook. I have Instagram.
Snapchat.
I have YouTube. I don't have Snapchat. But I thought y'all used Snapchat for other reasons, so that nobody else could know what it was that you all were doing. So I don't have Snapchat. But okay, keep going. What else?
Well, that's pretty much it. We like. I'm going to email you this. We don't really check our emails.
The emails.
We don't
The emails.
Like,
So emails don't work.
No.
Emails don't work.
Okay.
Facebook.
Texting. Y'all still text?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
But,
Then I need phone numbers so that I can text you.
Facebook probably not gonna work because
Facebook doesn't work.
Facebook, like for this generation, I'm
Right.
not trying to say you're older,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, okay, I'm old. I'll take old.
but I'm not trying to say that. You know what I'm saying, but for this generation, it's like Facebook is kind of, what should I say? How should I say this?
An insult to us.
Yeah.
An insult?
Yes.
Okay, you have to elaborate on that.
'cause older-
How is Facebook an insult?
It just doesn't relate to us. Like when I was in 6th grade, I was so happy to get a Facebook.
Yeah.
About 7th grade, all these adults started coming, trying to friend and like no, it was supposed to be a site for us, and now we have Instagram. The young
Okay, but
adults
now
are
you're
taking over
telling
that.
me that I need to use social media more, but now you're telling, but on the back end you're saying, but don't try to friend us. How can I talk to you
No.
if I can't friend you?
On
No, it's
Instagram,
how
there's
you
a way.
use it. It's a way. It's how you use
Okay.
it towards us. Like we don't want to be smothered.
Okay.
We want to have room. We don't want to be judged
Yeah.
on what we do. But I feel like if you want to talk to us about the activities, you
Is it a
can.
judgment? Okay, let's talk about this because I have a peeve about social media.
Yeah.
I don't mind social media. I use it. I use social media every day. I put something on Facebook about Alton Sterling every day. I put a scripture and a prayer on Facebook every day. And you're telling me that it doesn't reach you guys at all because you guys don't stay on Facebook.
We don't.
But
My mother tells me.
here's my thing about social media, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or Twitter. Does anybody use Twitter anymore? Y'all don't even know what Twitter
It's
is.
coming back.
I
Okay.
do, but
It's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay. You kids have to be very careful about what you put on social media. Because when you guys get ready to go to college and you want to be recruited to certain universities and you have the grades to go to these universities, these recruiters are going to go back and they're going to look at your social media pages. And if they find offensive things on your social media pages, they're going to pass you over and get somebody else. If you go to get a job, they want to look at your social media pages. And if they see you prancing around half naked, male or female, on these social media sites, because you represent them. And so I'm concerned, not social media is here to stay, it's not going anywhere, I understand that. But I'm concerned with how young people use social media. And so you say you don't want to be judged. That was your word. I don't judge you, but when I see something that one of my kids put on Facebook that I don't like, I'm going to walk up to it and I'm going to say, get that stuff off Facebook. I'm not going to say it loud. I'm going to get right in their ear and I'm going to say, get that stuff off Facebook that I saw. And they going to look at me like, yo, you watching my Facebook? Yes, I'm watching. Get that down. And I have done that to several members of this church because I think that your future is in jeopardy if you put the wrong stuff on social media. What do you think about that?
What y'all look at as being offensive, we just think we're having fun. Like that's the type of mentality we have, and you can't say like all youth because
I'm not saying all youth.
Okay, good. Because me personally, I'm
not saying all youth, but I am saying this. You can think of it as fun all you want to. Somebody has to hire you.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what you think it is. It matters what they think it is. Because they're going to be the ones, unless you are one of the very, very few people, one of the 1%ers who's able to earn a living on their own, an entrepreneur, and make their own money and not have to work for somebody else, even for a short period of time. Unless you're one of those people, somebody's got to hire you. Somebody's got to pay you. You want an apartment? You got to get a job. You want a car? Got to get a job. You want to be able to leave here and go someplace else, live in a different community, you got to get a job. And somebody has to hire you. And so it doesn't matter what you think It doesn't matter what your friends think. It matters what the prospective employer thinks. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
That's the only thing that I'm saying. And so when I come up to, and I haven't come, for the record, I haven't come up to any of you all, but I have done that to people in this church. I do it not because I'm trying to be the bad guy or I'm trying to be the Grinch who stole Christmas. What I'm trying to do is get you to understand the value of the social media site and the value of your reputation. All you have is your name and your reputation. And it can carry you a long, long way, or it can destroy you before you ever get started. And a lot of that is based on how people perceive you. And that's all I'm trying to get you to understand.
I agree.
They use social media wrong now these days, cause social media is for like express how you feeling, or if you're on vacation, like, yeah. But nowadays cyberbullying,
right.
Posting pictures of people that without their consent, I mean. Like, I had Facebook 5 years old. I ain't posting nothing on it. I just had a Facebook because that was the thing. So now these days they have 4 years old having Instagram, 5 years old. Like, it's the generation after us.
Right.
It's different, but I feel like their perspective is different now. Everything is different. Like, I feel like we're getting older now. The children that's under us, we have to talk to them, give them advice. Okay. If they're listening, if they sit down and listen.
Are you all familiar with something called cyber church?
Cyber church.
That's where churches don't meet in a physical location like here, but they meet online and have worship just online. It's something that's developing across the country. It's usually sponsored by large, predominantly white churches that are trying to reach new audiences, new groups of people, and so they use online and they schedule times for worship, but the worship takes place online rather than in a physical place. And the way you all looking at me, it makes it clear. It makes it clear that you're not familiar. But the reason why I brought it up was to ask: is that something that you all might find attractive? Is that something that you might?
Absolutely
not. If you're doing on the internet, what's the point of the church? Like, what's the point of the church building if you're doing the internet? Like,
it's not gonna build at all.
Like, this church building been here for many years, and if you just now start doing it on internet, a group on internet, it's like you're not getting it. Like, you have to be here, like, feel the vibe. Like, you have to be here. Like, how is somebody gonna feel the Holy Ghost over the phone? So,
have any of you ever watched the live stream?
Yes.
Have there been Sundays? Yes.
If I'm sick or something.
The live stream?
Yes.
How do you like the live stream?
It's nice, but it's not.
It's
the
nice,
same
but it'll be better from here.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a substitute when you can't be here, but it's not something that you would like to take the place of.
I just be like, nah, I'm just stay at home, nah.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear, because when we started, one of the things that I was fearful of is that people would go to what I call bedside Baptist. And you know what bedside Baptist is? That's where you just decide, I ain't getting up this morning. I'll just roll over and click it on and watch it from home. But what I'm hearing you say is that you find value in coming together and sharing in the worship experience with one another. So I appreciate that. From the standpoint of social justice issues, especially as it relates to people your age, teenagers, people in their early 20s, what's your attitude about the role of the church in social justice issues?
Well, the church in law in general, they try to keep the church out of it as much as possible. Like with the school situation, they used to have prayer in school. Now at my school, I know they call it a moment of silence,
right?
Which is like 2 seconds and then you sit down. That's not even enough to say thank you God in the morning. And you're not allowed to wear religious headbands, religious necklaces. They're gonna make you tuck it in and take it off.
You can't wear a cross in church.
Like there's no religions.
When I wore my
school.
my cross necklace, they made me tuck it in my shirt, or I had to take it off.
Really?
Because they say like it's offensive to the other children because they might not be the same religion.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not allowed
So
to
it's
have a Bible
offensive.
either. Because I
Or,
used to
like-
have mine.
It's like you can't bring up Jesus and nothing like that in the class, but that's what they need to talk about.
Like
Interesting.
even with the curriculum, like how the world was made up. I know in my civics class, my teacher taught it from both perspectives. He wasn't
They
supposed
like
to.
And evolution.
Yeah.
The-
He
they-
wasn't supposed to. But
They
he
like
did.
to say like they like to use it science, like they like to use it in science, but we need to use it like Jesus, God made the earth and everything goes. But no, they don't talk about that. They say what science did that, but that's not it.
When it comes to issues like violence, murder, drug addiction, the Alton Sterling shooting, the shootings that took place of the 3 law enforcement officers in the aftermath of the Alton Sterling shooting, and the marches that took place in our community where churches were involved, not necessarily in the leadership, but were involved in it. As 3 young people who attend church on a regular basis, what role do you think what role do you think Shiloh should play in social justice issues? We put something in the worship folder every week around a different social justice issue. Do you think that that's appropriate? Do you think that that's helpful? Do you think that that's necessary? Or do you just look at it and move on?
I think it's necessary. Awareness is everything. You can't go around being naive about things, because when you find yourself in that situation, you're not gonna know what to do.
And like talk to the people, like say like recently my cousin passed away from murder. They killed him. Like talk to the family of the victim. Talk to the family of the victim. Like sit down and talk to them and see how they feel, and try to see if you can help them feel better about the situation. But even though you sit down and talk, they're not going to come back, but there's still grief. But there's always going to be grief.
I think church is a healing place. It's a place where you can come find comfort in your hardest times. So that's what I think our church do already. Like we have the end of church service where, like people come up about they don't necessarily tell their problems, but we give them the comfort of prayer.
Right.
So I think with the church staying with as the comfort zone, that helps, because no matter how much you can try to preach it out, people are still going to do it their way. We can try to talk about don't be violent, God is the answer, but at the end of the day, just keeping it real, when they walk out the church, they leave the church at the church, most people.
How do we fix that? And I know that's a tough question, because that's been a generational problem. It didn't just start with your generation. It was true of my generation. It was true of generations before me. There's a running joke that my father first told that I have used from time to time. Preacher preaches on Sunday morning, and everybody shouts and says amen, and he stands at the door and he's shaking hands as people are walking out, and one guy walks up to the preacher and says, "Preacher, I sure did enjoy that sermon today. I just wish I could use some of that stuff in the real world." You know, and that tends to be the attitude. It's like we're in a make-believe world while we're in here, but nothing of what we get in here translates into the world that you walk into. What can we do to make more of what we do in here relevant to what takes place outside of here?
It's like 2 different worlds. Like there's the church world, then there's the community world. So it'll be better if not like just say like 3 of us just go out there and talk to people about church. Like say if I say one of the church members older than us, like, go out there, or we come together as a church and go out there in the community, and talk them about how we can do this, we can do that, how we can just bring the community back together within a church.
I think you shouldn't necessarily just talk about what you want to do. You should act on it and do it. Because people, you know how you say walk by faith, not by sight?
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't really do that. They have to see what's being done rather than hear it. Because you're not going to believe it and you're not going to want to be a part of something if it's all talk.
I think that plays a role in the church evolving. Like, in our church, I know we use the books. I can say from 5 years old to where I am now, I'm kind of learning the same stories, like the Lion's Den and Daniel, Father Abraham. I feel as if we should still use the book, but relate it to real life circumstances. Like, I know in Mr. Troy's class on Sunday, we use the book, but he also brings it back to a real life perspective to kind of help us merge the two worlds. And I think we should do that, because I know that the books, there are the same lessons. They just, as we get older, they put it in a way that we can understand it from when we're younger. So I think merging the lessons that we're taught in church with circumstances on the outside world would be better.
I think that, as I said, it's a generational problem. We try to find ways to make Scripture relevant. I say it 6 to 8 hours in sermon preparation. Part of the process is trying. That's mine. Part of the process is trying to find ways to make what's going on in the text relevant to what's going on in the world today. And so we spend a lot of time trying to do research about national politics, about President Trump and the things that he's doing, about the government, the state government and the legislature right now, and the dilemma that they're having in trying to find a way to bring healing to our budget woes, and then about local government and the mayor and her problems with the Metro Council and BREC and the business community and the inherent racism that exists within our community that people might not even be aware of as being racial. You know, I think that there are things that happen that a lot of people don't necessarily recognize as being racial or racially motivated, and yet they are. And you say, well, how can they not notice it? And my response would be because their perspective is different from ours. I use this example all the time. You and I can be standing on two different corners, and an accident can happen in the street at an intersection. And from your perspective, you'll see one version of the accident. And from my perspective, I'll see a different version of it. We both are looking at the same accident, but you will see things that I won't see, and I will see things that you don't see. And it's not necessarily a matter of one being right and the other being wrong, as much as it is that we just have two different perspectives of the same thing. I would like to believe that not every person who upholds things that I find abhorrent, like what's going on with the immigration system down in Texas and Mexicans that are trying to migrate north. I would like to believe that not everybody who supports what the president is doing is a racist. Sometimes I have a difficult time holding that point of view, but I would like to believe that not everybody who feels that way because they're racist. In the same way, I would like to believe that not everybody who supports things that I am against, taxes, for example, or the way taxes are instituted in this community, are doing it simply because they're mean-spirited people who don't care about other folk. I'd like to believe that some of it is the fact that they just have a different perspective. And if that's the case, you can deal with that. It's hard to convert a mean-spirited person, but it is possible to educate somebody who has a different point of view from yours by sharing your point of view, which is what you all are doing for me today. I learn when I listen to you. And so I'm happy to have this opportunity to sit here across from you and not talk about you through somebody else, but talk to you directly and hear from you as to what we can do better. And I'd like to believe that that is also true when it comes to other social justice issues that I think the church must take a leadership role in. Police brutality is a reality in this community. Police reform is a necessity in this community. I think that the church should play a role in that. But I don't want to believe that everybody who supports the police and says that there's no need for reform is just a racist or is just blind to the ugliness that exists within the Baton Rouge Police Department. I like to believe that they honestly believe and hold a position that they hold based upon their own perspective. And if I can share my perspective, then perhaps I have the opportunity to change your point of view.
We were talking about this. We were saying that when black on black crime happen, they just look at it like, oh, it's just another black person dead. But
Right.
as soon as a police kill a black person, that's when a whole riot happened. We're trying to see why we're not having riots against black on black crime.
Yes.
And like with the racially thing, I walk downtown, and I'll just be on one side of the sidewalk, and I'll walk past a Caucasian person, and they'll just step on the grass like I'm trying to harm them or something. I just keep walking, like I just pray for them. That's all I do. That's all I could do. Just pray for them.
They have a negative perspective of black young men, and they act on that negative perspective, and it's frustrating and it's angering. Because I used to be a black young, now I'm a black old man, but I used to be a black young man, and it was angering to me when that happened. But the solution to that is not to become bitter. The solution to that is to find ways to communicate with people who are at least honest enough to acknowledge that I don't know everything. The hardest thing in the world to do is to convince somebody who already thinks he knows everything. What we need are people who are honest enough to acknowledge, I don't know everything, and I would like to know more because I want to maximize the potential of this moment. And too often we don't do enough of that. Too often we just get angry, and then we generalize and we stereotype and we say all of them are like that. And when we do that, communication stops at that point, because everybody, if I attack you, if I say all young people are a certain kind of way, all of a sudden all your defenses are going to go up, and communication has stopped at that point. Now we're just talking at each other rather than talking to each other. So I think that it's important that we have venues, have opportunities to share and exchange ideas. Not necessarily that I'm going to see everything your way or you're going to see everything my way, but at least we've had the opportunity to put these differences on the table, and sometimes you have to get up and walk around with it for a while before you realize that maybe what they had to say had some value to it. Okay, I think we've had a good time.
Yeah.
What final thing can I get you all to say before we close out?
Well, I really appreciate the impact that Shiloh has had on my life. I have become a better person because of it.
I really love that I have Shiloh behind my back, and I can do everything with them. Like, everything with them, striving me to do better.
I want to say thank you to my Shiloh family. I love all of you dearly. I've had a good time growing up, and I will continue to grow up in this church. And just thank everybody for watching.
I agree. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Come back next time.
Thank you.
Bye.